Hiring the wrong realtor can cost you tens of thousands of dollars when selling your home. Now I'm going to do this juicy video. I'm here in my kitchen. I figured let me expose all the goods because I want to share exactly how to identify and hire a realtor who's going to get you the absolute maximum amount for your home, and a real good marketing person, someone who implements proven strategies to drive up demand for your home, right? So that's what everybody wants. And I'm thinking about doing this is because I get so many requests from people all over the country who watch my YouTube videos and say, can you help me find somebody? They're saying, listen, I want someone who's not just going to put a sign on my lawn and wait for someone else to sell it. I want someone really good. So if you wait to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 most common mistakes home sellers make when they hire a listing agent. So let's get into it. So why hire the right realtor? What does it even matter? I see it as a businesswoman as a financial impact. Like the realtor you choose has the biggest impact on the money you're going to walk away with at closing. It's kind of simple in my mind, but you need to know what you're looking for. So what are you looking for? Well, I don't feel you're looking just for a realtor. I think first you're looking for someone who is a skilled negotiator, like they really know the art of the deal. That's really important. And also someone who has some marketing expertise, such as an MBA in marketing or a degree in some kind of certification in marketing, who's not just a realtor salesperson, but I believe you should work with someone who has a broker's license, someone who has taken their career seriously. They got further education, they had to do X amount of sales before you can become a broker. I think that's important. I think also that someone like that can get you 8 to 10% more for your home than an average agent. So if you're selling a house for $400,000, that could be $32,000 to $40,000 more in your pocket. So that's what I typically find when hiring realtors all over the United States and Canada for my clients and my YouTube friends, because it's really hard. It's really hard to find an expert strategist. And I really, really know what I'm looking for. It's difficult. So I know how difficult it is for you. I'm going to call it like the home selling sharks concept, like my book, The Home Selling Sharks. Because in this book, what I do is I call them home selling sharks. I identify these things that can eat away at your equity when selling your home. Because when you are in the water and a shark bites you, you don't expect it. It doesn't tell you it's going to bite you. And the same thing with these sharks in your house. You don't know what you don't know about these things. These things happen to people every day and they have no idea they lost money. They go to Celebration Day settlement and they think, well, I made all this money, but they really didn't. They lost money and they don't even know it. And I feel, I have to say, that the biggest shark is hiring the wrong person for the job, because everything follows along there. The realtor shark, it has the biggest bite of all and could cost you lots of money. So that's why I stress so much. And on this question is, what do I do to hire a realtor? How do I do it? And that's why I'm here today explaining this, because there are 2 types of realtors. There's the expert here and the traditional over here. There's a big, huge difference, critical difference between a traditional and an expert. So a traditional agent might sell only 4 to 6 homes a year. And a traditional real estate agent, a company that has these agents is filled with hundreds of agents all over the place. And they might be selling 1 house, 2 house, 3 house. They have a few big fish, but they're not marketing experts. And how good of a negotiator can you be in protecting your asset if they're only doing mostly buyer transactions? If they're doing 1 or 2 sales a year, they're not doing listings. Or if they're doing a listing, it's their mom's house or something like that. So they really don't understand the whole process. They haven't been through turbulence. They don't know things that could go wrong. And how I know this is because realtors come to me on my listing and say, oh, they're begging me to take their buyer's offer so they don't have to show and schlep buyers around anymore. If there's 6, 7, 8 offers for a buyer, it's tough out there. And they're begging me to take their buyer's offer. They're not negotiating for their buyer, they're begging me to take their offer. And to get a real estate license today, you just need a few weekends of training, maybe about $600, $700 to get a real estate license, okay? But I think home sellers, you guys out there, you deserve more than a traditional realtor who simply has just a real estate salesperson's license and lacks a marketing degree and has no real negotiating skills, or even a broker's license. So I think you're looking for a business person. I know there's some business people that get into real estate. They're really good negotiators. They've done sales. They know how to market themselves, maybe a different industry, and they get into real estate and they do really well because they have all these skills. They might not have the broker's license yet, but they work towards it. I think they're your top-notch agents. Then, really to top it off, most of these traditional agents work for these franchises, these companies that right now they're being bought out by corporations and business tycoons. Warren Buffett bought out Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, all these big companies are just consolidating. And as a result, these companies, you see ads on TV all the time. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, radio ads, TV ads, marketing their company, not their sellers' properties, right? So they want to get as many home sellers as possible to sign a listing contract in hopes that some of the homes sell, so they all get paid. However, the traditional company, they pay 70 to 80%, 90% commission, sometimes 100% to the agent, and that's paid by you, right? The seller. So after paying support staff and other office expenses, these companies have really not a whole lot of money left over to spend in marketing your home, okay? So it's good to understand what's going on in the dynamics behind the scenes. Now, I'm sure you've heard of some of these companies. They're all over the place. So how can these big companies make money? But how they do it is they place the ads on TV to get realtors to work there in their office to sell, sell, sell. And that's how they make money. But they also make a lot of money by charging the realtors a monthly management fee or an administration fee, a copy fee or internet fee or more, because they also own the title companies, the mortgage companies. They make money, capitalize on all that stuff and other components. So for every transaction, they're making an additional $5,000 or maybe $10,000 more over the lifetime of a customer. It's a pretty profitable gambit. But one thing it does ignore is it ignores you, the consumer. It ignores your experience. It's a numbers game in that business, in the traditional market of real estate. Now, when you have an expert, they usually have their own company, their own team. They sell 25, 30, 50 listings a year they're involved in. They have systems for everything. They have an operations team, a dedicated marketing team, and resources for marketing your property. They really aren't out there marketing themselves. They don't need to. All their business comes by referral. And they've got really great negotiating skills. That's the way you can see the difference between these people and when you're actually talking to them. So that's why it's important to go through this process. So I'm going to take you through the process. 3 kind of steps. The first is research. Okay, let's talk about the research. I would say, how do you find these realtors? You can start with introductions from your friends and family members, right? Ask them about their experience when they sold their home. Don't just ask who they use, ask about the results. Did they sell the home quickly? Did you get multiple offers? Did they get more than expected? All those things about that person. Did they have a team they work with? Did you have good communication? Did they have an after-sales service program? Do they call you after it sells? All those things that an expert does in selling a home, or who they are. Their whole team is all enrolled in the same process. And there's all these systems along the way. So get some referrals. Online research you can do. Just don't look at the reviews. Search for realtors in their area and examine their online presence. Because if they don't know how to market themselves, how are they going to market your home? Do they have a professional website? How do they market their listings? What do their listings photos look like? You probably don't even know what they're supposed to look like. That's something I look at all the time. It just kind of gives you insight on how they market your home. You can just go online, type their name in, and if they have like just 1 or 2 pages, then they're probably not marketing themselves. They don't have the online presence. If you go and type my name in, there's like thousands and thousands of impressions. I've been around for a while. Plus I list a lot of houses, so that's kind of how it works. The third place to look for a realtor is on neighborhood signs. So it's while checking for signs in your neighborhood, it could seem logical, but you have to remember 99% of buyers now are finding homes online, not by driving around. But if you see a lot of the strong presence from one particular realtor, you might want to give that person a call. It could be a local expert in your area. But for example, I just went out to Westchester. It's not around the corner from me, but within 4 hours, I was that local market expert. I knew what questions to ask the realtors there. I befriended some realtors. I did all the research about that community, and I talked to the seller. They give you a breadth of information. And I was able to put a nice marketing piece together within 4 hours. And then the 4th thing you want to do is create your short list of all the people that you've talked to, maybe 5 or 7 potential realtors to contact. Don't limit yourself to just 1 or 2 options. You're looking for someone who's going to be responsible for your largest asset, your home. So I think it deserves a lot of research. So do it. Do the research. You can also call me. Down below there's a link. You can tell me where you live, and I can find you somebody or help you through this process. So you got your list, and now what are you going to do? Well, you have to interview the people, and I'm not bringing them in the house. You're never going to invite a realtor directly into your home without first conducting a phone interview. You want to screen. It saves your time a lot of time because they're there for like 2.5 hours and they're trying to gain your friendship and everything, and then it's like another one comes in and it's like really, really, really draining. Save your time, save their time. You can understand about these people in a phone call. So I'm on the phone, Diane, what do I say? So there's standard questions I would ask. I use the same questions for every realtor, all right, that you speak to, because then it will allow you to compare apples to apples when you're looking at their responses. So I will provide you the questions shortly, but they're also down below, and you'll know when you have the expert after doing these questions. And when you're listening, just really pay attention to just what they say and how they say it. Are they confident, knowledgeable? Do they have the answers like that? What's your list price to sale price ratio? How many houses do you sell a year? What's your average sale price? All those questions. Or see if they give you really specific answers or really vague general answers. That you can really tell the difference. I know I can, because oh my God, you can just tell the difference. You gotta do this. It's not a lot of fun, but it is interesting to do. And as you're talking with these realtors, you're gonna find that they're gonna have their list of questions. A real expert has their list. And I would let them ask their questions first. So you say, hi, I'd like to list my house. I'm calling different realtors. I'm doing phone interviews. I'd like to set one up. I said, well, I'm ready now. I said, great. So let's get onto the phone interview. But first, before we do that, I would like to ask you some questions. Let them get the questions out first. Then you know you're almost on the phone with an expert. That's a real good sign if they have their list first. You want to see what questions they ask you. Like, do they ask you thought-provoking questions about your situation and your goals? Like, what's important about you about selling your home? Not like, how many bedrooms and baths? Do you have a kitchen that's updated? They're going to ask you those questions, but they're not the questions that you really, really want to hear from them. You want to hear like, will the buyer love as much as you loved in the house? Those are the kind of questions, those specific ones about the feeling, the emotional part of the process, not the transactional part. The questions they ask are indicators of how they'll handle your transaction, and how they answer your questions are also indicators. Say, listen, record it, put it on speaker and record it. Very key thing. These are the people that could be handling your most valuable asset, which is your home. Probably one of the largest things in your financial portfolio. So let's get this right. So what are some key questions? I'm gonna go over some really important ones, and you can decide if you wanna get the rest down below. Full-time commitment is very important. The first one is asking them if they're a full-time realtor. How many hours do you dedicate to this job each week? Because you want someone fully committed to real estate, not someone just doing this on the side or side hustle or a hobby. They should be working full-time, and it's a career for them. They have a support staff or a team. Normally when you call, you're not going to get the realtor. You're going to get the support staff asking you the questions. And then you'll say to them, listen, I want to ask them some questions before I come in. Great, let's schedule a time for you to talk with them. What time is good for you? Morning, evening, or afternoon or evening? They're going to schedule the time to talk to that expert. Normally the expert does not answer that phone. Second question is something about their track record, like how many homes have you sold each year for the last 3 years? And specifically, how many of those were listings that sold, not just the buyer transaction. You just want to talk about listings, because an expert doesn't work with buyers. An expert lister doesn't work with buyers. They have a whole team that works with buyers. Maybe they help negotiating, that's kind of what I do. I think an expert should have sold at least 25 to 30 listings a year over the last 3 years. That puts over 90 homes under their belt. That would be good to have all that experience under there. Because the most important thing is like what they're going to tell you to do to get your house ready for sale, those low-cost fix-ups. Now I did a whole video about low-cost fix-ups up here, but you should watch that one if you're thinking about selling. But that is what differentiates a top lister from someone who doesn't have had the experience of listing homes. They don't know what works and doesn't work because they haven't been doing it that long. Also, I think the expert should not only have sold that many listings, but also they have the list to sell price ratio should be over asking, because that's what it's been like the last 5 years in a seller's market. But if you're in a buyer's market, they should be selling at least at 98% of the list price, their list to sell price ratio. Next, the team structure. You want to find out who are the members on your team. They say, well, I don't have a team. Okay, hang up. Probably isn't someone you want to work with. What does each person do? Make sure they provide a clear breakdown, their roles, responsibilities, particularly who's going to be your main point of contact throughout the process, because that expert usually isn't the one in operations. They're not the one setting up the showings and the contractors. They're the one telling them what to do, not setting it up. because you want them to be the one out there doing negotiating, the marketing, and overseeing all the details. That's the big deal. That's what they do. That's what I do. Next, you want to ask their compensation structure. What is your compensation? Do you have any additional charges that you charge? You know, compensation is negotiable. They're going to call it commission, they call it compensation now. And they also should give you a variable commission rate, something lower if they find the buyers themselves instead of them taking the whole commission themselves. If you find they find the buyer, maybe it's only like X%, you know. Or if you find the buyer, maybe from somebody you know. Also, you want to ask about any other closing fees, conveyancing, title, escrow, township fees, things like that. Find out all the fees and make sure they're knowledgeable about the use and occupancy inspection if there's going to be somebody coming in your house and how detailed that is, because that's important that they know those details. The use and occupancy is somewhere where the township comes in and makes you do sidewalks and put in GFIs and smoke detectors actually come in your house. A lot of townships in here do that around our area, and it's really tough for the seller. You want to make sure you have a realtor who can handle all that. Next, you want to ask them, what is the minimum, say, time that will be required to be in contract with you? A good answer from somebody would be, you want to give them at least 30 days, but you want to have the opportunity to have an easy exit agreement if you're not happy after 30 days. Because after 30 days, you've already spent like probably 3 months with them pre-marketing, and then a whole month after. If they haven't sold the house and it's priced right and it's staged correctly, that's not good. There should be an out. You should both be able to say, I don't want to work with you anymore. That's very important. Next, you want to ask them, hey, explain your method for determining the price we should sell the house for. It gets people off guard. So the first thing they should be talking about is pending sales. They should be saying, well, I look at pending sales, because pending sales are homes that just went under contract like that last weekend. That's the market value of the homes. You don't look at sold listings from a month ago that actually were sold a month and a half before that. Because when the buyer and seller have meeting in mind, that's when the date you should be looking at comparisons with, the most recent ones, the active comparable. They should also be saying that they will analyze current buyer demand and research with these competitive properties and understand where their target market is coming from, where the buyer is coming from what area, and target market those people. That should be coming out of their mouth. Then, marketing plan. What is your marketing plan before and after the house goes on the market? They should have an outline of a comprehensive strategy that starts well before your home officially hits the MLS. That creates demand and excitement. Make sure they talk about that. They have a coming soon program or something like that. And a kind of an outlier question would be, if I were to invite you in my home, what would be the agenda? And they'll probably be like, what is agenda? I have an answer. My answer, which is going to talk about a little bit later, is I'm going to go in and sit down and find out exactly what's important to you and help you clarify your values. For when your values are clear, you can make good decisions. And then I'm going to help you develop a strategy, but only I can do that when I know that you've heard me. So there's a whole list of things. You don't go running around the house. So I'm going to go over that in a couple minutes. So what's next is, there's plenty of other questions, but now you want to be able to look at their answers and say, okay, what am I hearing? What should I be cautious of? One, you should be cautious of some red flags. If someone says, well, I'll list your house whatever price you want me to list it at. That's a red flag. You want to see if you're hearing that they want to do whatever you want them to do, that they're just telling you what they want you to hear. You don't want to work with somebody like that. Watch out for agents who immediately offer to cut their commission without explaining their value. Value is so important. Today's world, you have to be able to show your value to be paid. And they can't completely and clearly articulate their value in their marketing and pricing and then the pre-marketing inspection, all those things, then I wouldn't bring that person into my house. Now we have green lights. They're the positive signs. You want to hear maybe detailed answers about their marketing strategy. They go into detail. You can hear they know it. They're not reading it from somewhere. Like a clear explanation of their pricing methodology and specific examples of recent success stories and questions about your timeline and goals. They want to make sure they're addressing those. And also they should be discussing their pre-marketing strategies that build demand. Listen for that as well, because track record matters. An agent who sells 30 plus homes annually versus one who sells 4 to 6 makes a tremendous difference. One agent's like higher volume, they have more market data, more experience negotiating, marketing, all those things, and they usually have the money to market your home effectively. They actually spend money on marketing. That's the big difference. Next, you want to select the finalists for the in-person interviews. This is exciting. You've narrowed it down to maybe 2, maybe 3 people, oh my gosh, that you actually want to meet, and it's a very exciting time. And don't waste time with those who didn't impress you on the phone, okay? It's not going to be better in person, trust me. And schedule the meeting and allow for at least an hour to an hour and a half for each one, because you want enough time for them to talk to you and tour your home, present their marketing strategy. You don't want to feel rushed, especially if you really like that person. So make sure you don't schedule yourself too thin there. You want to request for them to bring examples of their marketing material or testimonials from other past clients and a preliminary marketing plan for your home. This kind of tests their preparation and their professionalism. And now you have the interview. You've asked them to do all this stuff. And the most important thing, all I can say about the interview is you want to show, not tell. You want them to show you what they do and not tell you. A good sweet talker, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, this is like, show me this and that. Show me what you do. So important. They come with their computer, they open up the laptop and they're typing away, and here's what we do, here's what we do. That's somebody you want to work with, someone confident who has a great marketing plan. Okay, they walk through the door, and do not ask him, how much is my home is worth? Don't even ask him during any of the interview, because it's really not the time. This is the time for you to sit down and discuss your goals and what's important to you. So if the agent starts going through your house and doing a house tour, it's not going to be good. The first thing that they should do with you is sit down and understand you and your needs, because that person wants to see whether they want to work with you. An expert is not like they're like a dog waiting for a bone to get a commission check. No, they're looking to see whether they want to work with you. And a lot of people, for me, myself, I look to see if that person is somebody who would also introduce me to other people, because that's important. I'm going to work very hard for them. I want them to introduce me to somebody else. That's how it works. They're sitting down there, and the realtor should be discussing their custom strategies based on your specific goals, asking you questions like, are you looking to sell quickly? Would you like to maximize your profit? Like, what's really important about selling your home? What about your closing date? Your strategy. Everything they talk about, the strategy they're going to put together for you should reflect your priorities. And now you sat down and talked a lot, and they really understand you, and you're feeling good about it. Then you can go walk around room by room. That's what I do. I offer to conduct a detailed room by room review. I specify some improvements that will increase the home's value. That's what you're looking for. You want that. It's not general staging advice, it's a customized plan for your property. You want them to give you a little bone here or two. Like for me, I don't give all my thoughts, because I say, listen, once I'm hired, I'll go through and give you everything. But today, I'm here to give you some cool things, some things that I know you could do, so you see that I'm really could be the one to work with. And as they're walking through the home, they should be asking questions, taking notes. What I do is I go onto AI. The AI takes notes. I talk into my phone, and right after I get done, in 2 seconds, I have a summary of everything we talked about, and I send it over to the client. They have the notes right there. This has really been great. And that's something you want to look for, someone who has the phone out, their AI, they're working with technology. And when all this is happening, you want to watch how they assess your property. Are they looking at it through a buyer's eyes? Are they noting potential selling points? What are they noting? After you're going through the house, sit back down and have them show your marketing. What's your marketing approach? And maybe you've done that before you walked around, but I like to do it after I walk around. Once I feel comfortable with the seller, I show what's next to do is inquire about their marketing strategy, what they do, before your home officially hits the multiple listing. That's what a pre-marketing strategy is. It's kind of critical for building demand and excitement, potentially leading to multiple offers. You want to have a plan for multiple offers. If you're in a buyer's market, you want to get an offer within the first 14 days. Seller's market, an offer within 3 days. You want to make sure they're always talking about every home they sold in 3 days, in 1 day, for this much over asking, that much over asking. All their stories about all the ways they've created excitement, they did the low-cost fix-ups, things like that. You want to hear what they're saying that they've done for other people. So a little bit more advanced evaluation criteria I can give you now, which I think is important. So I'm a marketing person, I have an MBA in marketing, so beyond the basic multiple listing marketing, find out what additional marketing efforts they do have and they will promote for your property with. Do they use professional photography? Do they use video tours, or social media campaigns? Do they have a target market email to agents who know that sell in that area? Just the more channels, the better. The more things they do, the better. And they should present it to you. They should, like I said, have their computer out. They should show you examples of how they market similar homes. Not just tell you. Show, not tell. If they're telling you stuff, say, show me, and they didn't bring anything with them to show, then that's not good. I look at the quality of the photographs. Virtual tours, online listings, any printed material. No one's really printing material today, but basically the virtual tours and the online listings and the angles of the marketing and what's in their photos, if their shades are up or down in the photos. I mean, there's such bad photos out there lately. You might have professional photography, but there's like stuff hanging around and the drapes are down and there's stuff all over the countertop. Not good. You know, a more advanced technique is to analyze or assess their negotiating skills. I would ask them to describe a real challenging negotiation that they recently handled. What was their approach? How did they get the best terms for their seller? Examples of things like that, because past performance is a good indicator, I think, of their future results that they're going to do for you. So I know negotiate. I get better at it every day. I'm really good at it. I just get more clear, and the more I talk with people, the more I understand what I need to do and how I get to the next level. And I think I talked about this a little bit, but technology, you want to see how technological they are. Their cell phones with this AI, and that's amazing. AI can do in your world, digital marketing world. Online presence, do they have expertise with the virtual tour, social media advertising? Search engine optimization is really key, and other digital tools. What are they doing marketing-wise? Are they into AI? If they don't even use AI, then that's a problem. And you might want to ask about their professional network. A really good experienced realtor should have an extensive network, not just of trusted professionals in their area, such as photographer, stagers, contractors, inspectors, attorneys. They should have that. That's invaluable, right? But I'm talking about other realtors all over the country. They should be in a mastermind group, just really connected to other high-powered realtors. That would be a really good indicator. Ask them about their pre-marketing inspection. I do one every time. If you go to prehouseinspection.com, find out if they recommend a pre-marketing home inspection. I do it for all my listings. I've been doing it forever, and it's important because it can identify potential issues before the buyers even discover them, gives you control of repairs, and eliminates a ton of the surprises that could really derail the sale later on. So we do that for all of our listings, and we present it, and especially with the market the way it has been, if it's a seller's market, then it's really important, because then they'll feel more comfortable, because now they're not doing inspections or waiving them, and because I'm already doing a pre-inspection, they feel comfortable paying even more. Find out if they utilize a coming soon strategy, not one that just puts coming soon banner over their house sign or something like that. A real, true coming soon program that builds anticipation and demand for your home before it goes on the market. That helps it lead to multiple offers on day one. And then their pricing analysis. Ask them to walk you through their pricing strategy in detail, how they analyze the feedback. They should discuss comparable properties, but the pending ones, and they should talk about current market conditions. Make sure they know what's going on with the world, not just a little real estate market thing, and how your home specific features will affect value. In my book, I have things that could affect value in appendix in the back. I just did a video about this, about what your home is worth. Check out this video. It's a good one. And I talk about the things you cannot change, you can change, you might want to change, and you have to change. Really important to know. Pricing a home is not a quick number. They just give you a number when they walk through the door, I would say. How could you even know what the number is going to be if you don't even know what the product is going to look like? Are you going to do any repairs to the property? What's going to be the return on investment on those repairs? You have to analyze all that before you make a decision on pricing. So you do the phone interviews, they bring them to the house, maybe two people. How do you make that final decision? You got to be a little objective, because I would just use maybe a scorecard so you can objectively compare your top candidates based on the criteria, rate each realtor's own factors like experience, marketing, communication style, team support, and things like that. And trust is important. Beyond all those things, you want to feel that you trust and feel comfortable with this person, and that person feels comfortable for you. Make sure it's a mutual agreement to work together. Trust and communication are really essential here. Now, you may want to do a reference check also. Check their references. Ask them to give you contact information of recent sellers they've worked with. Ones, particularly those that are similar to yours, or maybe they're empty nesters. And when you call these people, ask specific questions about the selling experience, not just whether they're good or nice. That's not important. And then you have the contract, the listing contract. So before signing, make sure they give you a copy, you thoroughly review it, and they sit there and go over it with you. Just don't have them docu-sign it to you electronically and say, sign this. Make sure they go over it with you. 2 things on the contract to look for: pay attention to the length of the contract, we talked about it a little bit earlier, their compensation structure, their marketing commitments. Do they have a separate page? We have a separate page for marketing. We check off which ones we're going to be doing, and cancellation terms. Because an expert should offer, like I said earlier, and I showed you, an easy exit option if you're not satisfied, right? That's what you should do. Now you found your realtor. Now what do you do? I would set some clear expectations, and the realtor actually should be doing that. You found your expert, they're going to do that with you. You've made your choice. You want to establish clear expectations from the start, and they're going to do that with you. You want to discuss communication frequency, find out how you're communicating, decision-making processes, and timeline for listing and selling. A good realtor will already have that put together. We'll have a system already for that. Understand the communication protocol. How are they going to communicate with you? We use the WhatsApp. Everybody on our team can be on that. And we communicate using email and text and phone calls. How's it going to be done? Also, how quickly should you expect a response? That's important as well. And who on their team is going to be your primary contact on certain things. Like Diane does this, and Bobby does that, and she does that. Find out who all those people are and what they do. And then make sure you get a timeline. I have a timeline I put together for my client. You want to work together toward creating this detailed timeline to preparing your home for marketing, showings, closing. Make sure you exactly know when the pictures are happening, when the home inspection is happening, when the interior pictures, exterior photos, the pre-marketing, the open houses, all those things. You want to know when everything is going to be. Put it in your calendar. And then you want to make sure all the strategies we talked about are being implemented. I have my 8 secret strategies for fighting, I call the home selling sharks. Your realtor should have some type of comprehensive plan that addresses all the aspects of the selling process, from preparing your home to negotiating the final offer. I know it's been a long video, but I've promised you the 5 most common mistakes in hiring a realtor to market and sell your home. So I need to get this off my chest. This is what sparked me even to do this video. So the first mistake, please, is hiring a family member or friend, because many of my home sellers that I work with had their home on the market for 6 months or more with another realtor, and their home didn't sell. We call that an expired listing. And usually the realtor they hired is a family member or someone from an organization or a friend, because they felt obligated. So would you hand over your number 1 asset to someone without any marketing or negotiating expertise, or wasn't a broker, just because they're a friend or family member? When I put it that way, it sounds like a no, right? So you'd be surprised how many home sellers do that. So to avoid this mistake, do your homework like I just talked about, know what the expert looks like, interview these people, get them in, and do all the things I talked about. Mistake number 2, hiring a real estate company with lots of signs on the lawn. Yes, people do that. Traditional real estate companies, they hire anyone with a license. They don't have any criteria or anything. They just want them to sell 1 or 2 homes to keep them all in business. In these companies, they have lots of signs on the lawn because they have lots of agents in their offices. They're not really interested in marketing your property. They're interested in building their work pool, their agent list. Unfortunately, though, many sellers hire a realtor because a realtor is affiliated with a company that has lots of signs on the lawns. And what many home sellers don't know, or should know by now, oh my God, signs don't bring buyers, because most buyers are doing what? They're searching online, on Zillow or Trulia or Realtor, whatever they're looking at. They don't call on signs anymore. And if they do see a lawn sign, the first thing they do is they look up the property online, they view the pictures to see if they even want to schedule an appointment or not. And if they happen to call the office for more information, the call goes to somebody, an agent on floor time, who sits in the office for a 2-hour period waiting for buyers to call or email for more information about a home. Now, generally these agents are the newer agents who need business, and they're also the least experienced agents in their office. So now you've hired a real estate company with lots of signs on the lawns. The agent has no marketing or negotiating expertise, and calls or emails from interested buyers, they're being handled by the least experienced salespeople in the company. You don't want this to happen. So do you really want to hire a company with lots of yard signs near your home, but with inexperienced agents? You're in control of the decision. That's why you need to do that research I talked about. Hire the realtor with a track record and who sells lots of homes. And I just went over everything earlier, what to do. Number 3, hiring a neighborhood realtor. Now, that's kind of along the same lines. Many sellers think it's important to hire a neighborhood realtor. Do you think that hiring the local realtor will get you the most money? and give you a stress-free sale? I don't think so. And does your local realtor have advanced training in marketing? Are they a business person, and do they know how to handle negotiating? Usually not. Also, does your local agent have expertise selling homes in various markets? Can they bring you buyers from multiple markets? Because buyers from buying your home might not be living in your area. This is kind of critical because buyers aren't searching for homes locally anymore. They're searching globally. They can work from home, they can live wherever. So neighborhood realtors do not have access to more buyers just because their office is near your home. I would kind of think of this as hiring real estate is like hiring a doctor who makes house calls. That's what kind of I feel like I am. So if you were in need, say, of heart surgery, you wouldn't want to go to the doctor who's around the corner just because they're local. You go downtown to Penn or Jefferson, you seek out the experienced specialty surgeon with a track record of success. I think you should approach hiring a realtor the same way. Mistake number 4 is hiring a realtor who gives you the highest listing price. Woo, that's a huge mistake. Sellers make this mistake after interviewing a couple realtors. They say, oh, I'll list your home at the highest price. And realtors will come in with this high, crazy price the first time they meet you. They shouldn't even be pricing your home the first time they meet you. A realtor who tells you they'll list your home at a high price, they know that your home won't sell at that price. They tell you a high price to get your listing signed. And after 3 months or 3 weeks, they suggest to lower the price, and you get a price reduced sign on your lawn. And what they do when they lower the price, they don't even implement any new marketing or doing anything to attract potential buyers. They don't learn from anything. They just keep lowering the price. And if you put your house on the market on a winter, and now it's spring, they don't even change pictures and come out and retake pictures. So you agree to lower the price, and the realtor quickly puts, like I said, a price reduced sign on your lawn. I'm not sure how excited you could be by having a price reduced sign. It means, what's wrong with me? So you don't want that. Mistake number 5 is hiring a realtor who discounts their fees just to get your listing. I'll sell it for less. You won't do anything either, and what's your track record? Expert marketers like myself and negotiators do not discount their fees because they actually spend the money and they value their time. They don't want to work with people who don't feel like they're worth, because you're hiring that person's brain, that creativity. I find a more expert realtor, they charge a fair fee based on the job. They estimate the cost of selling, all the time that's going to be putting into it, their marketing expenses, other costs, and they evaluate your situation. For example, if you're selling and buying at the same time, what we do is we make an adjustment that could save you some money on the buying side. I truly feel, I'm working with any professional, if someone's quickly to lower their commission without analyzing any costs, they just say, yeah, I'll do it for less. I bet you they won't even plan to spend any money marketing your home. They're just discounting their time. Also, if you're expecting an expert to list your house for the same discounted fee as somebody else who came in the door, you like this person, they're expert, but you want them to charge the discount fee, it's not going to happen because this person's going to get paid the same as this person. They're not doing anything. Realtors' fees are negotiable. Compensation is negotiable. There's no set industry fee. But someone like myself, an expert realtor, they don't discount their fees because they need the business. They don't need business. They're getting calls every day. And when you're interviewing them for the job, they're interviewing you if they want to work with you. So it's a mutual decision because it's really, if you're selling a house for $400,000 or $500,000, that's only a difference between $4,000 or $5,000. I mean, I put 8% more on average on top of all my listing prices. My sellers make a lot of money with me. I'm worth the $4,000 or $5,000 more. Say, for example, if this guy was going to charge $5 and I charge $6 or something like that, that extra 1% means a lot. That's just something to think about. So I think choosing the right realtor isn't just a smart move. I think it's a financial strategy that could put a lot of money, thousands maybe, more in your pocket. But finding the right person, unfortunately, it's only half the battle. Now, you have to make sure your home stands out and sells for top dollar. And another video I want you to watch is these 12 things you need in your home when selling. That's a great video. It'll show you exactly how to create the kind of space that makes buyers fall in love the moment they walk in. Don't miss out on this video. Your profit depends on it. Watch it now.